Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. We are from Group 7. We would like to present our topic about EFL learners' perception of mobile assisted feedback on oral productions. First, I would like to introduce our group members. My name is Putri Novariani, and the second speaker is Faiza Nur Hasanah, and then Atika Deutami, and the last is Yusfrina Mahera Aulia. Feedback has been a topic of interest in second language learning research. It can be broadly classified as either corrective feedback or positive feedback. 6 corrective feedback types including explicit corrections, recast, elicitation, metalinguistic clues, clarification request, and repetition. By contrast, research on positive feedback is difficult to find. According to Reigel, positive feedback consists of verbal praise such as I like it, affirmations such as I understand it, laughter, nonverbal cues, and so on. It has been found that meaningful and authentic positive feedback is likely to have a positive impact on second language learners. Language anxiety is an additional influencing factor in classroom feedback. In classroom settings, however, individual learners may not be able to receive corrective feedback because feedback is normally directed toward the whole class, and because it is impossible for teacher to give each student immediate and detailed feedback due to time limitations. Moreover, language anxiety is an additional influencing factor in classroom feedback. Sheen found that learners with high language anxiety might have failed to process feedback provided by the teacher, which mitigates the effectiveness of teacher corrective feedback. Thus, learners' strong preference for being corrected and the insufficiency of in-class feedback suggests the benefits of mobile-assisted feedback outside of the classroom. Mobile-assisted language learning is getting a lot of attention. Mobile devices such as smartphones operating outside of time and space constraints provide learners with great convenience that is superior to that of computers. Earlier studies have suggested that learners express positive attitudes toward using mobile-assisted language learning in their learning process. Furthermore, with new technologies such as social communication application, instructor and learners can communicate in flexible ways such as through text, voice, image, and video. This renders mobile-assisted feedback proficient visible via social communication application. The power and effectiveness of the email, podcast, and mobile recording features. Little research has been conducted concerning the use of smartphone application with social communication features for foreign language learning. Shi Liancheng, which explored the line application for the purpose of the teaching English spelling. Although some studies have explored computer-assisted oral feedback, Su, Wang, and Komek few have involved the use of smartphone application.
Hello everyone, my name is Faiza Nurasana and here I will explain about the method. The purpose of the method was participant. A research conducted in China with 35 participants. Before official study began, all participants take the mock adult test, ranging in age from 17 to 35 years old. Okay, next materials and procedures. Each participant must install the WeChat application. The, the student was divided into 5 WeChat groups. To elicit oral production from students, 5 video-based tasks were assigned to them throughout a 12 week. Each video depicting a story that was complete with the exception of a missing ending. Students were assigned the task of retelling and continued story based on the video clip they had watched. They were asked to record their stories using WeChat voice message, then sent to the WeChat group, and the teacher would give the students feedback on their oral production. Feedback could be given in Chinese or English and either oral or written form. Okay, next, data collection and analyze. These are the third introduction of the instruments applied to measure students' perception of teacher feedback on their oral production. The first one is a post-study questionnaire, 1 week after the study, consisting of 5 scale questions, was used to examine students' perception of teacher feedback via WeChat. The second one is student reflection forms, administered in the middle of the study and 1 week after the study, were designed to ascertain whether students notice and comprehend teacher feedback. Each form includes a summary of feedback obtained, space to report usefulness of teacher feedback, and space for providing suggestions. And the last one is student interviews were conducted 1 week after the study. 10 students were randomly chosen to attend an interview with a brief research report researchers for a purpose of complementing the data obtained from questionnaires and reflection forms. The interviews last approximately 4 hours in total. An analysis of teacher feedback targets shows that CF was most frequently concerned with pronunciation 44%, followed by grammar 26%, content 19%, and vocabulary 11%. There are three types of feedback occur naturally in data. There is explicit correction, elicitation, and the last clarification request. There are some examples of linguistic target and CV types. In terms of PF, holistic complement made up 43% of all the feedback targets, followed by content 23%, pronunciation 21%, vocabulary 8%, and grammar 5%. The type of PF were found praise and affirmation. And okay, that's all from me. And next slide will be explained by my partner.
Result. The first post-study questionnaire. 69% of the participants agree on the convenience via WeChat as a facilitative tool for learning English outside of class. In total, 72% agree that they were willing to do assignment via WeChat, and 75% expressed a willingness to interact with the teacher on WeChat. With regard to the usefulness of teacher feedback, 80% teacher feedback helped to improve their overall speaking abilities. In response to questions about the usefulness of feedback, all the main score excited for, indicating participant attitude toward teacher feedback. And the next student reflection form. There are two student reflection forms. The first corrective feedback and the second positive feedback. Example for corrective feedback. The first pronunciation. Pronunciation through teacher feedback. I found that my major problem is pronunciation. I need to work on learning, improve the accuracy of pronunciation, and speed up my speaking. The second grammar. The teacher pointed out my mistake of tenses use. Now I pay more attention to the use of past tense while retelling and continuing the story. The third content. I learned that there should be more concrete detail in my story and the logic is very important. The fourth vocabulary. I should remember more vocabulary and expression and try to use more complete sentences. This reflection illustrates that through feedback, students become aware of where their problem lay, preparing them to make specific adjustments to their oral prediction. And next example for positive feedback. The first, the teacher praised and Encouragement gave me more confidence, so I will try to speak more clearly and loudly, think more to add some detail to story and make it flow logically. The second, the affirmation that I received from the teacher is good for me to learn English, and that gives me confidence to continue. Many students say that because positive feedback they gained much more confidence in speaking English than they had before.
Here I will explain about student interviews. There are 2 points in student interviews that I will explain. First, the advantages of student interviews for students and the disadvantages of student interviews for students based on the article that I read. During interviews, almost all of the participants were very willing to receive feedback from the teacher. They considered it helpful to record speeches and obtain feedback via WeChat because they also used WeChat as a daily communication tool. Furthermore, teachers' corrections were useful for them to identify and solve their problems. One participant said she was used to repeating herself whenever she forgot the words. However, no one had pointed this out to her until the teacher did so through WeChat. She then gradually overcame the habit of over-repetition. So, additionally, several participants say they gain more confidence through practicing speaking via WeChat. In addition to participants' positive comments about WeChat feedback, some concerns also appeared from the interviews. For example, some of the participants felt uncomfortable talking directly to the smartphone. One participant described her feelings while recording her speech as impersonal and unemotional. A similar issue appeared in Askim's study, in which some participants choose to speak with a person instead of recording speeches into a computer. One possible solution to this problem is designing collaborative tasks in which students may record interactive conversation instead of monologues. Next, I will explain the discussions and the conclusions about our presentation. There are 3 points here. It is the students' perceptions, research value, and limitation. In the first point, this study looked at students' perceptions of teacher feedback on oral production via the social communication app WeChat. Positive attitudes were found among students who had expressed a preference for receiving mobile-assisted feedback. In addition, students also gained more confidence in speaking English. The findings suggest that feedback provision using WeChat enables EFL learners to participate more actively in learning activities outside of class. This practice can compensate for the limitation of classroom teaching where sufficient feedback cannot be provided by instructors. Furthermore, learners increased participation in MALL-based learning environments should lead to greater progress in language skill. Second, new research being as limited as it is, the present study still holds value for a number of reasons. First, it bridges the gap between oral feedback and MALL research. Second, findings from the study demonstrate that time spent both inside and outside of the classroom can benefit from the improvement in interactive and communicative mobile platforms, such as social communication apps. Educators should take students' perceptions into account when designing mobile learning activities, among which a mobile-assisted feedback provision is an effective option. The last point, however, this study is not without limitation. First, the number of participants was small, so these findings may not be generalizable to all mobile learner perceptions. Second, the study was focused on learner perceptions of feedback in MALL-based environments. Thus, there was no formal evaluation of learners' development in oral proficiency or confidence level. Additionally, giving feedback outside of class burdens teachers with extra work. Future studies may use similar procedures with a larger group of students at different capability levels.
A control group might be employed to evaluate the effectiveness of mobile-assisted feedback in improving learners' oral capability. In addition to teacher feedback, peers can also be involved in giving feedback to each other, which will reduce teachers' workloads and enable more interactions among students to occur naturally on mobile platforms.